Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to the KaiNexus Continuous Improvement Podcast. I'm Mark Graban. We're joined today by Matt Banna. He joined us originally on the podcast back in 2019, where he talked about why he joined KaiNexus. He'd been with the company for a while at that point, and he's still here, and his role has evolved. So it's a chance to catch up with Matt and kind of hear about how things have progressed for him at KaiNexus over the years. So, Matt, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm great, Mark. Thanks for having me back. Round two. Very excited to be here. I mean, I love listening to all your recordings with all of my colleagues and friends here. It's always a chance to learn something new about them. So excited to share.
Yeah, well, thank you. And we have been doing a lot of these episodes, with somebody who's a relatively new KaiNexian, as we call ourselves, and then sometimes we have an opportunity here to catch up. So go back to the beginning though, and you kind of recap for us, like at least further back in the memory now of why you joined KaiNexus, and then maybe tell us a little bit about how that's evolved over time.
Yeah, I mean, we're going back 7 years now, so I really gotta think.
Yeah.
Look, I know when maybe you're probably hoping to hear something along the lines of, you went to the interview and like you fell in love with the company and the people and the mission and things like that. But the truth is I moved down to Austin and I didn't have a job and I needed a job, and they said they would pay me. So
it was a job.
I was happy to sign up. To be honest, at the beginning, I didn't know anything about continuous improvement, about software. Coming from a sports background, like none of this made sense at all. Like, I got told to read Kaizen and a bunch of books, and I was still like, I don't know what any of this stuff is. And once you finally kind of get it about really the purpose is trying to get a little bit better every day, coming from a sports background, it makes a ton of sense. It's really aligned with like everything that I've ever known or done, just more in a business sense instead of like an athletic sense. So that was, once I realized that, I felt like that's kind of when I started to come into my own here, and I started as an intern. Back in the day. I interviewed for a customer success position, or like the original customer success manager position. And so I did my interview and with Greg and Jeff and Ryan Confer, and Greg called me and he said, "We really like you. I don't think you're the fit for that specific role, but we'd like to bring you on and you can just kind of help as a generalist. And then as long as the business keeps growing," and I didn't know anything about business back then. So I was just hoping that everything would work out. We can bring you on sometime that fall. And that's what ended up happening. So graduated from intern to full-time customer experience, sales, and marketing specialist. And I think what everybody here would agree to at the company is you get the opportunity to choose your own destiny in a way. So within the next year, I think I dropped the marketing side of things a little bit and helped Jeff and Clint on the sales side and managed a couple of accounts. And then a year after that or so, I dropped the customer experience side of things and moved more into sales. But being at a small startup type environment, you still do a lot of stuff.
Sure.
So between now and 2016, I've written blog posts, I've helped filter product tickets and helped on that side. I've done sales, I've done account management, I help plan the user conference, I help plan the annual events, whether they're fun or they're all fun. But like the annual meetings, I feel like I've had a little bit of a hand in pretty much everything except for actually coding the platform at some point here or there. So it's certainly been a really, really fun adventure.
Yeah. To make the connection back to sports in a way that I know will connect with you. Let's say, you were coming in, and if it was a baseball team, they said, well, we already have a catcher. We're looking for more of like a utility player, of someone who can fill different spots in the lineup. Is that kind of what it sounds like what it was, right?
I mean, I feel like that's what it was here. And I feel like that's the role that I've played my entire life in athletics. Was, yes, this is my primary position, but yeah, I can also go play second. I can go play outfield. I could go hop on the mound if you'd need me to, whether it's that or playing adult league kickball or flag football. You need me to play wide out. You need me to play quarterback. Like, just tell me what to do and I'll go do it. And however I can help the team, mentality to take.
Yeah. Matt Banna, versatile team player. And that's important. And, KaiNexus is more than 10 years old now, or more than 10 years on the market, with our platform, and we're up to how many people now? Do you know?
We're up to like 35,
which I was going to say.
Yeah, crazy being number 10, seeing the growth over time.
Yeah. There's the growth of the company, and then back to you and the things that you're doing, that creates growth opportunities personally and professionally, that things aren't stagnant, that there's always new situations, new needs, and new opportunities, right? So tell us more about, so right now your role as an enterprise account executive, tell us more about what that role is like on a daily basis, and what you like about that role.
Yeah, for me, what that means is I get the opportunity to bring new customers to the KaiNexus family, but I also get the opportunity to work with all of our existing customers. So obviously the primary metric behind my role is growing the business. But I love getting to meet all the new people and having conversations with everybody all over the world that need some kind of a platform to help manage their improvement work. But it also means that, like, all the friends that we've brought along the way, I get to still maintain those relationships with, whether it's going to see them on site or having them here at KaiNexicon or seeing them at conferences or just doing some kind of catch-ups throughout the year about how things are going and where they want to go and how we can best help them next. I think that's one of my favorite parts of the role, is just all the different people that I get to meet and interact with and build relationships with here.
Yeah. And what do you see? I'm not asking you to forecast numbers or anything, but I was going to ask more like, just generally speaking, like what are some of the challenges and things looking ahead here in 2023, that you're looking forward to taking on?
Yeah, I think one of the coolest parts about what we do is the choice that we strategically made as an organization a couple of years ago, where we took a look at our customer base and we said, which ones are the most successful? Which ones make the best customers? Which ones are the most fun to work with? And the obvious answer throughout all of those was people trying to do improvement at scale. And so that's really the direction that we took as an organization. And so getting to work with some of the biggest name organizations in the world, the customers that we have right now, and then the people that I can't talk about that are hopefully going to be coming aboard. As Greg said, we're not superstitious, we're a little stitious. But the people right now that we have on the customer wall, like the Wonderful Company and BHP and Cleveland Clinic and UMass Memorial Health and MD Anderson and Memorial Health and Siemens and all the biggest companies that you've heard of, and then all the biggest companies that you've also never heard of, that you soon realize are integral to how we live our life every day, is what makes it really, really fun. I get to work with Abbott a lot, Abbott Labs. And so where I grew up in the north suburbs of Chicago, there's a big Abbott facility, it just right next to my hometown. And so, you couldn't throw a rock without hitting somebody's house that worked at Abbott. And so knowing that, they were a big part of the community that I was in, and now I get to kind of return the favor and like help them in whatever way we can is a pretty special thing. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Kind of bringing it all back home, quite literally, and to make an impact with them. I'm sure that feels great.
Yeah, it definitely does. The challenge is obviously going to be, especially because that's what you asked about originally. with kind of people predicting some kind of recession or whatever it is it's never about convincing the people that we would work with day to day that we're going to be able to help. Our thoughts are that the best way to take on a recession is to better equip your people to handle that challenge. And what better way to equip them and give them more to work with, or to like save them time than KaiNexus.
Yeah. It's a time for doubling down on continuous improvement, right?
Exactly. And besides, like for us, I mean, we look at platforms like when you go talk to organizations, the salespeople have Salesforce and the developers have a Jira, or IT's got a ServiceNow. Well, why is it fair that continuous improvement people have to use Excel? Like you need a tool fit for the job.
Yeah.
Right. And Excel is a great tool, but it's a hammer. And when it's a hammer, everything looks at a nail. So you're trying to, square peg, round hole, and even the playing field a little bit for our guys.
Yeah. You brought it back to sports there again at the very end. Leveling the playing field. So
I can't help it.
It's all right. So we've been joined again today by Matt Banna. He's an enterprise account executive here with KaiNexus. I'm sure there's a lot of exciting things to come this year and hopefully years to come. So maybe we'll do another podcast again sometime.
Looking for part 3, maybe at the 10-year. Yeah.
That would be a good thing to celebrate here on the podcast.
I think so too.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining us, Matt.
All right. Thanks, Mark.